Okay, so in the huge world of security management, there's one credential that really stands out. People call it the gold standard. Today, we're going to break down exactly what that is, the Certified Protection Professional, or, as you'll hear it everywhere, the CPP. If you're serious about your career in security, you've probably hit this point. You ask yourself, okay, in this massive global industry, how do I actually prove that I'm ready to lead? How do you make yourself stand out from the crowd? Well, for over 4 decades now, the answer for a lot of top security pros has been just 3 letters, CPP. So let's really get into it. What exactly is this certification from ASIS International? Who is it for? And maybe most importantly, how do you get one? So first things first, before you start buying study guides or stressing about the exam, the very first step is figuring out if you're even eligible. So let's break down what you need to qualify. Okay, so eligibility is basically a mix of 2 things, your education and your actual full-time security experience. As you can see, the path changes a bit. If you don't have a degree, you're looking at 7 years of experience. If you have a master's, that drops to 5. And here's a really good tip. If you already hold the APP certification, that's the Associate Protection Professional, it actually shaves a full year off your requirement, no matter what your education level is. But here's the thing, it's not just about counting the years you've been on the job. This is probably the most critical part of the whole thing. At least 3 of your years of experience must be in what ASIS calls responsible charge. It's really all about the quality and the nature of your work. So, responsible charge, what on earth does that mean? Well, simply put, it means you were in a role where you had real decision-making power. You weren't just following a checklist. You had the autonomy to actually manage security projects or processes yourself. Think about it this way. It's the difference between being a security supervisor who manages a shift and being the manager who actually designed the entire security plan for the building. Okay, so you've gone through the requirements, you've checked all the boxes, and you're eligible. Great. The next big question is, what do you need to know? Let's dive into the 7 main areas that the exam covers. The exam is built around these 7 core domains, and they're definitely not all weighted the same. As you can see, the biggest slice of the pie is security principles and practices. That's 22%. But after that, you've got a pretty balanced mix of things like physical security, business principles, and crisis management. It really shows you need to be a well-rounded leader, not just a specialist. And this list, it really drives home how much you need to know. The CPP is not for someone who's only an expert in one little niche. It's designed to prove you're competent across the entire security spectrum, from the guards at the gate to the data in the cloud, and all the business and crisis stuff in between. All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts of it. You're eligible, you know what you need to study, so how do you actually go from being an applicant to being a certified protection professional? The whole path is broken down into these 4 basic steps. First, you'll apply online and upload all your documents to prove your experience. Then, ASIS reviews everything, which usually takes 2 or 3 weeks. Once you get the thumbs up, you get the green light to schedule your exam. And listen to this. Once you're approved, a clock starts ticking. You've got 1 year and up to 3 tries to pass the exam. Now, let's talk about the cost. The application fee is $580 if you're an ASIS member. But if you're not a member, that fee jumps all the way up to $910. That's a pretty huge difference, right? It's why, for a lot of people, the first logical step is to just become an ASIS member. It pretty much pays for itself. Okay, here's the tiny detail that could turn into a massive problem. This is a direct quote from the ASIS handbook, and you gotta take it seriously. The name on your application has to exactly match your government ID. No nicknames, no middle initials if it's not on your ID. If you get this wrong, they can actually turn you away on exam day, and nobody wants that. And when it's time to actually take the exam, you've got a choice. You can go to a professional prometric test center, the formal, secure facility, or you can take the exam from home with a remote proctor. The remote option is super convenient, but the key is you absolutely need to have a stable internet connection, a webcam, and a private room where you will not be disturbed. So after all that work, the studying, the application, passing the exam, you've finally earned it. What's the payoff? What does having those 3 letters after your name really mean for your career? Well, the benefits are very real. This is about way more than just feeling good about an accomplishment. We're talking about something that moves your resume to the top of the pile, especially for those big roles like Director of Security or even Chief Security Officer. Getting your CPP just immediately boosts your professional standing and gives you a real, tangible edge in the job market. And honestly, this quote from ASIS sums it all up perfectly. The CPP is that objective third-party proof. It's a clear signal to the entire industry that you've got the skills to be a leader and to handle complex, wide-ranging security issues. It's not just you saying you're good, it's the global standard setter saying it for you. So, yeah, the path to the gold standard is definitely demanding, but it's also laid out very clearly. It's a journey that takes proven experience, a whole lot of dedication, and a real mastery of the security field. We've walked through the what, the why, and the how. So the only question that's really left is the one you see right here.